Secretary of State, it became possible yesterday to think that both governments in Dublin and Belfast might be led by someone from Sinn Féin. Now, later in this programme, the First Minister, Michelle O'Neill, tells my colleague David Blevins that she expects a vote on Irish unity in the next decade. Is she right?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to speculate on that. I mean, what is actually fantastic, actually, is to see Stormont back up and running. It's been a long time, and I know lots of people have been working towards this day, and that is now, where things that affect Northern Ireland will be discussed. So it's right that they're there, and it's right that that the ministers are now there and able to take big decisions. You know, there's many decisions that we've taken here that they have not been able to take in Northern Ireland because they haven't had, the government up and running. So it's fantastic it's there.
Indeed. Would you personally, though, welcome that vote, even just to clarify the situation?
That is something I definitely wouldn't speculate on. I mean, first of all, as the Education Secretary, and secondly, trying to second guess what will happen in Northern Irish politics, but obviously it's great to see them all there. It's great to see the First Minister there as well.
All right, I obviously can't tempt you there. Let's deal with last night's events. The United States and the RAF bombed Iranian-backed Houthi targets in Yemen last night. Is there a danger that we are inflaming a situation without actually deterring or punishing the Iranians? Because there were no Iranian targets hit.
Well, what we're trying to do is obviously protect the freedom of navigation and also defend ships in that region. So what we're doing at the moment is targeting the Houthi capabilities and trying to degrade those. So that's the purpose of these strikes, and that's what we will continue to focus on.
But firing missiles anywhere in that region is seen as provocative by many people. And your colleague, Grant Shapps, says this is not an escalation. Seriously? I don't think any of the Houthis think this is not an escalation. Surely this is ramping things up.
It's the same objective that we've had, which is to protect the freedom of navigation and to make sure that we protect the ships in that region as well, who are just trying to go about their business and delivering things all over the world globally to make sure that we have global supply chains functioning.
But the Houthis are already...
It's exactly the same objective. It's exactly the same
that may be
goal.
Your objective, but the Houthis are saying already, every time you fire one of these missiles, we're going to come back at you. Surely what is now happening is that we are potentially making the situation more dangerous rather than less dangerous.
Well, the objective is to degrade their capability. So that's what we'll be continuing to do, to degrade their capability. And that's, including some of the launch equipment that they have. I think there's some sort of underground storage as well. So it's really targeted, and it's really targeted on that capability, which is attacking ships in that region, which is obviously not abiding by the freedom of navigation structures that we have.
All right, well, let's look one other aspect of this. Every one of these missiles that we fire costs something like £1 million. The Defence Committee of the House of Commons has just released a report saying that the UK armed forces are consistently overstretched. Either the Ministry of Defence must be fully funded to engage in operations, or the government must reduce the operational burden on the armed forces. Can we really afford to be involved in this kind of conflict?
Well, look, we're spending more than £50 billion on defence, and obviously that is to ensure that we have...
The generals are saying that's not enough.
And that's to ensure we have the operational capabilities, whether that's to conduct NATO missions, whether to help Ukraine, whether it's to conduct some missions like this that are now taking place in the Red Sea. So we have that operational capability at all times, so that we're ready, to be there. Our armed forces are ready to be there to conduct whatever it is that is required. And they've shown time and time again, how well they do and what a vital part of global order they play.
All right. I think what is on many people's minds this morning is that there is a woman lying in a hospital after a pretty horrific chemical attack, but that's under investigation, so I don't want to ask you about the specifics of the incident. But I think many people are asking this question: how is it possible that someone turned down twice for asylum, who then commits a sexual offence, or more than one sexual offence, is granted refugee status by a tribunal? How is that possible?
Well, I think that's something that more than one person are asking, as you say, and I think my understanding is the Home Secretary has asked for all the details. But this is not really about asylum. This is about, obviously, the attack on, a mother and her children, which was horrific and obviously impacted others as well, some people who went to her assistance and the emergency services. So, of course, all our thoughts are with her and her daughters and also those other people affected. But, it is a question. It is a question that the Home Secretary will be asking as well and looking at that.
You say that it's not about asylum, but it obviously is. If he had not been granted asylum, he wouldn't have been free to do what he did. So, let me just...
Well, I think it's conflating those two,
with
Trevor.
A system that allows this to happen?
Clearly, what we say is that anybody who commits crimes, is not able to stay in this country. So if you have a sentence of more than 12 months, you're not allowed to stay. If you have a criminal record, etc. So there are, we don't want to have people in this country who have criminal records. And there are several steps in the various bills. Actually, the Nationality and Borders Bill tightened it up, and the new bill has tightened it up again.
But
in this particular case,
he did have a suspended
granted
sentence, which I think was more than 12 months.
Yeah.
Why was he free to roam the streets?
Well, that's something that, we need to get to the bottom of, but that's not something that I have the details of, and I think they will be looking at the details.
Are you not concerned about that?
Well, look, I'm concerned, actually, that right now there's a mum and her two children.
Forgive me, we can agree about that, but
yes.
Are you not concerned about the fact that the system worked in such a way that this man, convicted of more than one sex offence, had a sentence, which indeed was suspended, was free to walk the streets and do what we understand he did?
Yeah, any time there's a case where, somebody's already been known to authorities or somebody's already had a suspended sentence and then go on to commit other crimes, rightly, everybody always asks, how did that happen? What can we learn from that? So, of course, when you've had, some cases or you've had some interaction with, police or mental health services, there is always a question to say, what more could we have done? That is actually something that, we do after every case, particularly if somebody has already had some kind of record.
In the what more might be done bucket, is it possible, I know you can't say for certain now, but might that include looking at the way the tribunal system works and changing its rules, if indeed, even if that includes perhaps some change to statutory regulations or legislation?
Well, that's definitely all outside my brief, as I think you well know. But I'm sure the Home Secretary and others will look, as we always do, at our system and make sure it's fit for purpose. And that's why we have actually, extended the laws in recent bills to be clearer on some of these areas. But that's for the Home Secretary and my colleagues to look at.
All right, well, let's talk about your brief. You are announcing a new teaching apprenticeship programme today. Now, according to the government's own data, something like 40,000 teachers resigned, not retired, they resigned last year. And you're nowhere near your targets for recruitment, 50% below target for secondary school teaching, much more in certain areas like physics and so on. How is this apprenticeship programme going to help with that?
Well, it's only one part. So we have a recruitment and retention strategy, which we have in place anyway, which looks at shortage occupation subjects, which pays more for those, and which also supplies bursaries and other things to ensure that we get more teachers into the profession. Actually, we have had an uptick this year, both in maths and physics and others compared to last year. So we are, sort of getting back to where we want to be again. But of course, recruiting for some of these shortage occupations occupation subjects like computer science and maths is always going to be a challenge because you're competing basically with many other companies who want the same skills. But the teaching degree apprenticeship is there to widen the pipeline of people who can access the profession. And it's something I've wanted to do for a long time. So it means that, you know, young people who want to do the degree apprenticeship route, something I did many, many years ago, who can therefore work and study at the same time and skip the student debt, it's open to them. Those people who didn't get the shot first time round and maybe would like to go into teaching either as a second career or mid-career, it's open to them because they'll always need to earn at the same time. They've normally got bills and things they need to pay. And there's also a fantastic group of teaching assistants who perhaps didn't get the first shot to get a degree, but can use this to be able to upskill within the profession and get to a teacher degree, degree status.
Let me take you to the other end, if I may, of the educational ladder. You've made a promise to provide care for children down to 9 months old, and you're offering £1,000 golden hello to recruit more childcare workers. But the providers say that you're going to need something like 100,000 extra staff over the next 2 years to meet that promise. Now, can you guarantee that this September, every parent to whom you've made that promise of childcare down to 9 months old will find a place?
Well, obviously what we're doing is working to make sure that we deliver a plan to provide that. So when we put the plan in place in the first place, we've put several stages, and deliverability has been at the key of that, making sure that April, which is the first increase of 15 hours for working parents for 2-year-olds, that we have more staff in place for that. And then the next tranche is September, that we have more staff in place for that. And then the final large piece of delivery is September 2025. So deliverability has been at the heart of the plans. Last year, we recruited net over 13,000 new people into the sector. So we just need to keep going at that rate to be able to deliver.
I hear that, but for parents who are watching, they will have heard me ask you the question, will you guarantee that there are places for everybody in September? And the word I didn't hear in that answer is yes.
Well, obviously, what I'm doing right now is sitting and making sure that we provide all of the resources that we need, whether it's capital to grow the places, whether it's workforce to grow the places and to make sure that we have all that together. Right now, you know, what you can't do, Trevor, which I think you probably know, is guaranteeing something in the future that you're not in control of all the bits. But what I will say is we are working to make sure that that offer, which I know parents are absolutely desperate for, and I know is our government is the only government that is determined to deliver it, but to make sure that we can deliver it. I've delivered many things in my career.
Sorry, Secretary of State, but here's the problem. You can't say you have made the promise that you will provide this and then now say, I can't guarantee it. Why did you make the promise in the first place?
I'm very confident.
Parents think that you have made this promise.
Yes, I think you're trying to pick on semantics. When you're delivering a project, and I've delivered many things... Will you let me finish, Trevor? When you deliver a project, and I've delivered many things in a long business career, what you do is you put plans in place to make sure you can. Obviously, guaranteeing something in the future is something that you can never do. All you can do is put all the plans in place and then react if you need to. But I am very, very confident that we have got in place both the capital and the workforce and all the incentives and also the flexibilities, plus 3 new apprenticeships into the profession with more flexibility for career progression up to degree level in this profession as well. I'm really confident that all the things that we've done will mean that every parent who wants to have a place is going to have a place. But what you're asking me is to personally guarantee something on behalf of, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of businesses that are working out there to grow the capacity and to make sure that we've got the people in place. The plan in the first place, we thought very hard about this, was in terms of, you know, stepping up the plan. That's why we have 15 hours for a group of the 2-year-olds of working parents. Then we go on to younger children, and then we increase the hours. And we do that over a period of time.
Forgive me, Secretary of State, for interrupting you. I don't mean to be rude, but...
Well, you are interrupting me quite a lot, but I don't know why.
But I'd like you to answer the question I asked you, because I tell you why I'm asking this. Maybe what you're hearing is the grandparent, which is what I am,
Yeah.
who thinks that the government has said that it will provide these places for my grandchild. And I think that there will be loads of grandparents and even more parents who are under the illusion that when the government says we are going to do this, it's a promise. Now, I understand what you're saying now. You're confident it will be delivered, but what you're also telling me is don't be absolutely certain that it will be delivered.
No, you go about with the confidence that this Conservative government has got your back. We're trying to deliver this. We are very confident we'll deliver it. By the way, it is something that there is no plan for the opposition. They haven't even said what they'll do if they get into government. So this government is working flat out to make sure that your grandchild has a place in April. And then if you are eligible for more hours for younger children, that will come in September. And by September 2025, if you stick with our plan, we will have delivered all of this. I am very confident about that. But of course, when you ask specific words, I've got to be conscious of the fact that I'll be delivering this, or this will be delivered by many thousands of businesses across the country, and I am here to make sure that we do everything we can do to support them. I was in a business this Friday, and you know they've had the rates confirmed. We've increased the rates substantially to make sure that there's a strong business case for everybody to be able to increase the places, and everybody's very excited about this. This is the biggest expansion of childcare in our country's history, and that's the plan, and we will stick with the plan, and I am determined that we will deliver it.
Secretary of State, we will no doubt return to this before September when we see each other in person. Thank you for your time this morning.
I look forward to it. Thank you.